Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the One World Media Chair, Samir Shah.
Let's see if this works. Great. Good evening, everyone. All of you here in person in London tonight, and all the hundreds joining us from across the world online. And welcome to the 35th One World Media Awards ceremony. My name is, well done, yes, absolutely, deserved it. My name is Samir Shah, and I have the real honor and privilege to be the chair of One World Media. And this is my third award ceremony. But as I said, the first was 35 years ago, back in 1988. Since then, many things have changed. Some of you, of course, were barely born then. While TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube weren't even a twinkle in their inventors' eyes. The Digital News Report by the Reuters Institute this year had this to say about those new platforms. Let me quote it. Video-based content distributed via networks such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are becoming more important for news, especially in parts of the global south. And of course, that's where our focus is. And here at World One Media, things have also changed, and quite different from back then, reflecting not just changes in technology, as we've just talked about, but also more generally in our attitudes to journalism about the global south. Back in 1988, there were only 4 awards. Actually, I was speaking earlier to Chris Rowley, who was one of the founders, and we were lucky to get 4. In fact, there was only 1 entry for the documentary section. Luckily, it was brilliant, according to Chris. But the thing was, they were all done by British broadcasters. Last year, there were 15 awards, of which 8 were won by journalists living and working in the global south. That transformation has recently accelerated under Gemma Bradshaw, our director, and her terrific team. And looking at the nominees list this year, there is no let-up in our celebrating and championing the very best underreported stories from the global south, and importantly, supporting talent from across the global south to tell their own stories. But one thing that hasn't changed over the past 35 years is that our industry can be quite difficult to navigate, and international stories can be hard to tell with authenticity and nuance. Whether it's through our fellowship schemes or our Global Short Docs Forum, we have been playing matchmaker to fill that gap, giving emerging talent the opportunity to experiment and shape their stories on a global stage, connecting commissioners and editors to a worldwide talent pool. In the past year alone, the talent we've supported have seen their stories streamed on platforms including CBC, BBC, RT, Al Jazeera, and many more. And I've seen how the awards matter too. A trustee recently told me that they had a meeting with Maria Reza, CEO of Rappler, from whom we'll be hearing later this evening. Maria explained that the One World Media Special Award came when she was at a crossroads, and the award helped motivate her to carry on. And of course, as you all know, within 16 months, she'd won the Nobel Prize. But that's why we're here tonight, not just as individual journalists, filmmakers, nominees, judges, fellows, but as an active global community that are pushing for better, more informed journalism. Now, let's hear from some of our talented storytellers, and who knows, maybe future Nobel Prize winners. Why not? Let's hear them.
Hello everyone, my name is Usman Samaseku.
Hello, my name is Omar.
My name is Viswajit Das.
Hello, I'm Elohe.
I'm very happy to be selected for the One World Award.
Covering untold stories from the global south. One World Media is spearheading this, and really it's setting an example for the rest of the mainstream media to cover these stories.
I had a really, really amazing time because it was one of the first opportunities to really be validated as a filmmaker and have my story heard.
Getting international recognition is confirmation that our effort was worth it. It's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's terrific. Well, you know, we couldn't do any of this. I'd like this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees to thank Gemma Bradshaw and her excellent One World Media team that made all this happen, and also our incredible partners, many of whom are here tonight, who truly believe in our mission to promote first-class independent journalism from and about the Global South. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here, being part of tonight's celebration. Now, I'm delighted to welcome your host for this evening, BBC News anchor and correspondent, Yalda Hakim.
Hello and good evening. It's wonderful to be here. I was just in Ukraine a few days ago, so I sort of really wanted to be here tonight, and it's wonderful to be here among so many old friends. And I see my mentor, Peter Horrocks, and Richard Porter are also here, so it's wonderful, wonderful evening. But I wanted to say good evening to you all, and I'm delighted to be hosting the 35th One World Media Awards, coming to you live here from Curzon Soho in London and live streamed around the world. The judges had a tough year. The awards received the highest number of entries ever, with over 600 stories coming in from more countries than ever before. Across 15 award categories, we've 45 nominees waiting to hear the final decisions. All of these amazing finalists should be celebrated for their tenacity in sharing these incredible stories that otherwise would have gone unheard. From coal mines to costumed activists, from corrupt police to campaigning doctors, all of these stories are leading the way in how international reporting should be done. We've done things a little differently again this year. As well as presenting awards here in London, we have guest presenters in the Philippines and Afghanistan from our past special awards, Rappler and Tolo News, as Samir mentioned. We'll be hearing from them a little later. Now we'll start things off with the Student Award. This award is for a piece of media made by a student as part of a journalism or filmmaking course that deals with stories or topics related to the Global South. Let's just have a look at the nominees.
He visto mucho sufrimiento con los cuerpos, entonces que lo que no quiero es que mi gente sufra por mi cuerpo. Si yo me muero, me metéis, pum, y quiero que sea algo de lo más simple, lo más sencillo, que nadie se entere. No debéis de llorar, porque lo bonito no es el cuerpo que se ha muerto, lo bonito es que queda el corazón.
Number one, lo mntana le ndawo yakhe inde kakhulu ekho short.
Oh, le ndawo le
short ijika asinoba sayilungisa is fine. Uyayifila lento enditsho ukuba lo mntana ingathi uchoviwe kakhulu ngapha. Uyayifila? Jonga kayi4. Saphi ichok. I feel nale directional empumlo.
Thank you, driver.
How much time do you usually spend on the bus?
At home, on the buses?
How much time?
A lot. Yes. Let me say, now I will take about 3 or 4 buses. But I don't care. because I wait at the stop then. Yeah, but the train you have to walk, and I don't have good legs. Because my leg, I was tortured, let me be frank with you. So walking is not the thing for me.
Now, to present the award, please welcome one of our Student Award judges, Louise Hill from UNICEF.
Hello, thanks for having us. I'm really honoured to be here on behalf of UNICEF UK and was really privileged to be part of the judging panel. Hi, I'm here on behalf of UNICEF UK and really honoured to be part of the judging panel. The range of talent on the Student Awards was amazing, and would like to congratulate Peter Jenny, Kailisha, for winning the Student Award.
Sorry, I didn't read the brief, apparently. Thank you very much. I think this is an incredible recognition, not only for myself, but also for my team. But that's not really what matters. Like, I think what is the central point here is to celebrate these stories that we don't really hear. And the art world, coming from the township of South Africa, is something that's completely undiscovered. So it was my honor to share the stories of Xolani, Ligle and Leletu, and yeah, I wish them all the best in their careers, and I hope that you all come and see the movie. So thank you very much.
Now, our next award is the News Award that recognises a video news report or feature that deals with global South stories. This category sees entries from across the globe dealing with pressing issues and offering urgently needed perspectives. Let's just see the nominees.
These secluded places provide fertile ground for criminals to dispose of bodies.
Kenyans were shocked when 26 bodies were found over the course of just a few weeks in this 50-meter area of the Yala River. Many of the men found here were hundreds of miles away from where they were reported missing. Most were facing criminal charges.
So in a rocky place like this, you will find a lot of bodies because once the water supersedes, the bodies get exposed.
À partir d'aujourd'hui, nous allons soutenir la Russie jusqu'à notre dernier souffle.
In Bangui, thousands of miles from Kyiv, crowds wave the Russian flag. It's the capital of the Central African Republic, a former French colony.
Uniforms, guns, vehicles, all spoils of war, stolen from their enemies, and of course, the essential mug for sweet tea. Notoriously suspicious, they rarely give access to outsiders. I'm the first journalist allowed to film them in years.
cid kasta oo dimuqraadiya wadatana waxaan ilaahay subxaanahu wa tacaala maanta u markhaati gashanaynaa inaan dhuunta ku dhufanayno.
Standing in front of them is Mahat Karate, his nickname, and nod to his extensive martial arts training. He was once a Somali government intelligence officer who is now one of Al-Shabaab's most senior leaders.
Our selection of stories is One World Media trustee May Noman.
Hello everyone. It's a huge honor for me to be up here presenting the One World Media Award for the news category. Having built my career in news from hard to reach places, I know how much of a difference One World Media makes and the role it plays in building a better international news environment. So thank you to all of you, from the board members to Gemma and her amazing team who do so much in such little time. I have no idea how you do it, so thank you. I have a confession to make. Over the last 6 months, I have been shying away from the news. Now, I have my excuse. I have a 6-month-old. And I thought that the world would be a safer and more manageable place, steering away from the somewhat awful headlines that we're constantly looking at. And it's been nice, but the truth is, I've never felt less connected to the world that we live in. The world that I'm raising my daughter to be a part of and to responsibly care for. News and the stories that journalists from all over the world work tirelessly to bring to us play a crucial part in the decisions that we make for our future and the future of the next generations. And doing a good job of this is essential to human progress. I do understand the tendency for news avoidance, but the huge responsibility journalists bear to inform equally needs to be met by public who value being informed. Of course, the best news journalists both inform in the moment and cultivate public interest in news more broadly through creating the kind of can't look away, engaging content that we're here today to celebrate. So in celebration of these fantastic journalist efforts, I'm pleased to announce the winner in the news category. Inside Al-Shabaab, Jamal Osman for Channel 4.
Thank you very much to the One World Media for helping so many journalists. Thank you to the judges for selecting our story. And I would also like to thank many of my colleagues here and back in Somalia who helped me produce this story. Those in Somalia especially, I cannot name them, and too many here to name. I think doing a story like Al-Shabaab is always difficult. But they have been fighting for many years, I would say 16 years now in Somalia, and they are stronger than ever. You hear a lot of stories coming out of the Somali government saying we are going to defeat them soon, but we have been hearing that even 15 years ago. So I think I always say as a Somali, I believe sort of negotiating with groups like Al-Shabaab. And when I was doing a story, one of the thing I wanted to achieve was to, show they are there, they are still strong, they are still fighting, and, the way forward is to negotiate, but that is not happening. So I think we will see more Al-Shabaab fighting and more bombing. So thank you very much to everyone who contributed. Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations. And now we turn to the Print Award. This category called for feature-length articles published in print or online. From in-depth investigations that lasted years to profound personal stories, the judges were blown away by all of the entries. Let's just take a look at the finalists.
Some weeks before meeting Farouk, I was in Saharanpur in western Uttar Pradesh, about a 4-hour drive from Delhi. There I visited a home in which 3 single beds were arranged in the shape of an inverted U. Mohammed Hamid, who is a little over 70, lay on the bed at the back. Niamat Ilahi, his frail 68-year-old wife, lay to his right. Her eyes were fixed on the third bed, occupied by their 45-year-old son, Mohammed Shahid. Shahid, all bones and skin, grew restless as the day progressed. He kept tossing and turning, trying to find a comfortable position. His unsteady hands wrestled with the red pillow before giving up. Sometime after noon, I noticed Shahid moving his jaws, trying to form words. None came. Finally, he managed a sound that broke the silence of the room. Roughly 10% of medicines sold in low and middle-income countries are thought to be fake or substandard, with tragic consequences. In October, the deaths of nearly 70 children in Gambia were linked to an Indian-made cough syrup. Last month, 18 children died in Uzbekistan after taking another Indian-made cough syrup. Fixing the systemic issues that have allowed poor-quality asparaginase to spread could help patients far beyond child cancer wards. One day, when Noor was in 9th grade and on her way back from school, she greeted a teenage boy from her neighborhood a few years her elder. My relatives didn't accept that, she said. By interacting with a male outside her immediate family circle, Noor had brought shame upon her community. A tribal meeting was convened, with Noor's male relatives seated on one side of the spacious majlis, the boy's male relatives on the other. Over sugary tea, the men sealed her fate. To restore the family's honor, she was to marry the young man. The society puts the entire blame on the girl. I was a child. They should have protected me and given me a chance. But no, because of the tribes and the traditions, they sacrificed me. I ended up where I am because of them, Noor said.
Such powerful stories. Well, please welcome the chair of the print jury, multimedia journalist Portia Ladrido, to announce the winner.
Good evening, everyone. One World Media received an incredible list of entries spanning a diverse set of issues that unfortunately are very rarely covered. And it was pure joy to read such in-depth stories that reveal the most critical problems in the global south. And at a time when the business of journalism incentivizes speed and engagement and shares over accuracy and depth, the long-form print entries showed us the immense value of well-produced, well-written, highly researched journalism. And among the entries, one represented not only the essence of print journalism, but also the importance of cross-border journalism in an increasingly global world. Highly original, this winner captured how a range of issues, in this case in particular health inequality, disproportionately affects the global south, and that issues arising from a certain region will eventually, ultimately affect us all. It clearly demonstrated that indeed we are one world. And the winner of the print award is Rosa Furno. The drug was meant to save children's lives, instead they're dying, from the Bureau of Investigative Journalism.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? This microphone's being a little bit difficult tonight. Hi. I'm absolutely delighted to receive the One World Media Print Award for our investigation into the global spread of ineffective cancer medicine. At the Bureau, where I'm from, I'd like to thank Lara Margattini first and foremost, also our editor, Chrissy Giles, reporter Paul Eccles, our senior editors and our production and audience teams, one of whom is here tonight, Frankie. Also our partners at Stat News, El País and the Mail and Guardian, and in South America, reporters Jill Langlois and Benjamin Miranda. This story wouldn't have been possible without the dedication of sources around the world, including many extraordinary and brave health professionals and the families of children who have faced unimaginable pain with great courage. In particular, I'd like to thank Dr. Tim Eden and Dr. Ronnie Barr. Winning this award helps highlight their struggle, and this recognition will bolster our team as we continue to report on access to healthcare for the most vulnerable people around the world. Thank you again. They're going to make me turn around and do it again.
There's a protocol. Congratulations. Now, this next award recognises a piece of media that covers refugee issues, looking for compelling stories that generate empathy and understanding and encourage accurate and fair reporting. Please take a look at the nominees for the Refugee Reporting Award.
The story of a heroic mission to defeat a hijacking in the Channel seemed to arrive at just the right time. In the summer of 2020, the number of migrants crossing the Channel had rapidly increased. In July and August, more than 2,000 migrants had attempted the crossing, compared with 500 in the same period in 2019. Politicians and the media had seized on the crossings as evidence of Britain's failure to protect its borders. On one occasion, the BBC deployed a journalist to stand at the cliffs and literally count the approaching boats. Just weeks before the Nave Andromeda incident, Patel had pledged to crack down on small boat crossings. According to documents later leaked to the press, proposed solutions had included building floating walls across the Channel, one of the world's busiest shipping routes, and using water cannon to create waves that would push boats away from British shores.
Но мы увидели в окне вот такой дым, и сразу начали собираться. Потом сходили быстро в магазин все купить, потом домой, а потом сказали, что есть бомбоубежище. Ну, в подвал я с собой взяла самое необходимое. Свои любимые игрушки.
Кирюш, привет скажи.
Привет. Ну, краску, карандаши. Моя любимая мягкая игрушка.
Now, from that incredible selection of nominees, the judges had a hard task. To announce the winner is UNHCR's Mark MacDonald.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark MacDonald from UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, to present this award. In a world where misinformation and even apathy can take hold far too strongly, this reporting is so important for us, especially in the refugee cause. Last week, UNHCR released its annual Global Trends report, which showed that global displacement jumped by a staggering 19 million people in 2022, reaching 108 million people worldwide. Once again, it was low and middle income countries who continue to shoulder the greatest burden and offer the sanctuary to more refugees than any other part of the world. Once again, almost half of all refugees are under the age of 18. Behind this data, of course, is humanity. The humanity of every woman, every man, every child who's fleeing conflict and persecution, and their individual stories of how they've survived and rebuilt their lives. But also the humanity of those who stand with them, the communities who show enormous compassion and generosity in neighbouring countries, opening their doors to refugees as families arrive across the borders seeking safety. So I'd just like to say thank you to all of you really tonight, and especially to those finalists for shining a light on these stories and continuing to ensure that the voices of refugees are not forgotten. And the winner is Samira Shackle for The Guardian.
Thanks so much to the One World Media Awards. I'm absolutely thrilled. I think that sometimes it can be difficult to get the attention for refugee issues, even as you say, it's such a growing problem. So much of the world is displaced. And what I really wanted to do with this story was to highlight the disproportionality that the British state, and I mean many states, often respond with. In this case, sorry, I've got a cough. In this case, it was presented as a huge kind of military victory, and in fact, what you had at the core of it was 7 absolutely desperate men who'd spent 10 days clinging to a rudder of a ship. So I'm very, very grateful to those men who shared their stories with me, to the crew of the ship who really jeopardised their employment to share what had actually happened, and also to the team at The Guardian long read, David Wolfe and Claire Longrig, who have given me a huge amount of time and space to investigate the story thoroughly. So thank you.
Congratulations. Now, as we move on to our next awards category, we have a very special guest in the Tolo News newsroom in Afghanistan. Tolo News were our special award winner in 2022. They won this award due to their outstanding commitment to reporting during an incredible, difficult time in Afghanistan. We're excited to welcome Tolo News back to the award ceremony this year. Let's just have a listen.
Hello to all of you in London and around the world from Kabul. I'm Hamid Bahram from Tolo News Afghanistan. We won the One World Media Special Award last year. I'm excited to be presenting several award categories this evening. We'll kick off with the Digital Media and Popular Features categories. The Digital Media Award is for websites and attractive online features and apps that use creative techniques to extend engagement with the Global South. Popular Feature is for a piece of media that deals with stories related to the Global South through creative treatment of an issue and that provides an accurate, balanced perspective. Here are this year's nominees.
Coal Oligarchs is an interactive data story from Indonesia that helps the public peel back the many layers of the coal oligarchy, the small group of men who control and profit from exploiting this energy source. The story is presented in the form of a game in which players must answer questions about the businesses and networks of the nation's 10 biggest coal oligarchs. The oligarchs are businessmen, politicians, and public officials. With their capital strength and political influence, they have been able to perpetuate their exploitative enterprises for decades. In March and April 2022, as the residents of Block 17 in Bucha, Ukraine, grappled with the indignities of war, they sent thousands of text and voice messages to each other, along with photos, memes, and videos, creating a unique snapshot of life under siege. The view from Block 17 could be scattered, confused, and occasionally profane, as residents desperately tried to piece together an understanding of what was happening around them. Bombings, gunfire, and constant fear were interspersed with panic and grinding boredom, but also cooperation and commiseration.
Spain's authorities insist no deaths happened on their territory, and the leaked helicopter footage only shows the first seconds of the crowd surge. The crucial minutes that follow were not shared with the public. But we were able to see what happened next. A high-ranking Guardia Civil officer describes what the footage shows.
Pero en el momento que se parte la puerta, todos salen corriendo hacia la puerta. Y ahora va a hacer un zoom.
The helicopter camera zooms in and films as people are crushed inside Spanish territory.
Leaked videos show in chilling and unprecedented detail Syrian military personnel committing a massacre in 2013 of 288 civilians. In the videos, which were leaked to the authors in 2019 and amount to 27 takes of the massacre in its different stages, military personnel show their faces to the camera and appear at ease and in full control before they execute their civilian captives in cold blood. A subsequent 2-year investigation based on open-source intelligence and numerous interviews, including with some of the executioners who continue to serve as officers in Syria's elite military intelligence unit, has revealed that the massacre unfolded on April 16, 2013, in the Damascus district of Tadamon. The footage sheds light on the inner workings of a regime that relied upon systemic mass executions of civilians, in addition to indiscriminate bombardment of civilian areas during the country's 11-year war. He saw a teenage girl trapped behind iron bars in a house they were about to burn down. "I can't forget her shouting. I can still hear it in my ears and remember it in my heart," he says. When he told his captain, he replied, "I told you to kill everyone we see." So Tiha shot a flare into the room. Corporal Ung was also there and heard her cries as she was burnt alive. "It was heartbreaking to hear. We heard her voice repeatedly for about 15 minutes while the house was on fire," he recalls.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I'm Noella.
Happy birthday, dear Noella.
Birthdays are always a big part of my life. A chance for my family and I to come together.
Say thank you.
But there's sometimes sadness alongside the celebrations.
Kitu mimi najua nikigrow up nilikuwa na believe like mimi nilikuwa najua chizi ni msee mwenye As umse amekunywa drugs.
Some inspiring stories there from a talented group of reporters and filmmakers. I can now reveal that the 2023 winner of the Digital Media Award is Reconstructing the Millennium Massacre by Lighthouse Reports. And I can announce that the winner of the popular Futures Award is How a Massacre of Nearly 300 in Syria was revealed by Uyghur Ungur from Newsline magazine. Congratulations to you both. Let's hear from our winners.
Hi everybody. We are very honored that we have won a One World Media Award for our visual investigation reconstructing the Melilla massacre. Last year, when the EU rightfully welcomed millions of people fleeing from the war in Ukraine, the EU kept its borders closed elsewhere for people fleeing other, equally deadly conflicts. Our reconstruction shows that these policies can have devastating consequences. With our media partners El País in Spain, Der Spiegel in Germany, ENAS in Morocco, and Le Monde in France, we will keep investigating and hold powers to account who are responsible for tragedies like these. Thank you.
It is a tremendous honor to be nominated for the One World Media Award, and we are very thankful, especially because it means recognition for the victims, the source, and so many others who helped us during the difficult research on this terrible massacre. The Syrian conflict is an ongoing tragedy, a catastrophe of 12 miserable years that needs more attention and more empathy from around the world. The recognition of this award would help us to amplify the impact of our work, because it means the world has not forgotten about Syria and the suffering of the Syrian people, which is ongoing.
And now it's time for the Environmental Reporting Award. This category has become increasingly popular at the One World Media Awards, showing the urgent need to spotlight the incredible reporting going on around the world. These stories are from the front lines of the battle to protect our planet and ensure a better future for us all. Let's take a look at the nominees.
Voar na Amazônia, principalmente para assistência à saúde indígena, de forma clandestina, é uma regra, não é uma exceção.
Recebia pelo risco, por isso que a gente colocava bastante peso, que quanto mais peso eu colocava dentro do avião, mais eu ganhava.
Já levei jumento, já levei boi. Se ele acordar durante o voo, ele derruba o avião. Então você tem que matar ele dentro do avião.
In a lined notebook, Bal Nath Singh Armo, a lean 28-year-old man wearing a blue shirt and matching baseball cap, drew a map of his village. He pointed his pen at the middle to mark the temple where the village deity had lived. To the west, he noted a settlement of more than 200 houses, where he, his father, and his grandfather were born and raised. Then, to the north, another temple for the female deity. This was how his village, Key, looked until 9 years ago, when it was destroyed by a company controlled by a $260 billion conglomerate. The conglomerate is named after its owner, Asia's richest man, Gautam Adani. As far back as 2007, the United Nations Environment Programme warned that Dandora posed a serious health threat to those working and living nearby. Yet while it is understood that exposure to the toxic chemicals found on dump sites can result in cancer and skin infections, scientists and environmental campaigners say little attention has been paid to their impact on the reproductive health of waste pickers, who are often women. As ever higher volumes of trash continue to end up in landfills, informal workers like Wanjira will be on the front lines of what scientists are calling an emerging issue of global concern.
A powerful selection of the entries from such brave and creative storytellers. I can now reveal the winner of the Environmental Reporting Award is... It was a setup, we were fooled, the coal mine that at an Indian village by Ankur Palwal for The Guardian. Congratulations. Let's hear from our winner now.
Hi, my name is Ankur Paliwal. I am a freelance journalist based in New Delhi, India. It's a huge honor for me to win One World Media Award. I am happy that the award recognizes this underreported but increasingly common tactic of how big corporations and governments quietly work together to manipulate and divide local communities in order to access their land for mining. This award motivates me to continue to work on such stories and uncover issues of environmental injustice. Thank you.
That's it from everyone at Solo News here in Afghanistan. Great to be part of the awards once more. Now, back to you and London.
Congratulations to all the winners, and great to see Tolo News represented. I was in their newsroom earlier this year, and despite women being pushed out of the public eye across Afghanistan, they had dozens of female journalists in their newsroom working away. So great to see them there, and thank you again to Tolo News. Next up is the New Voice Award that goes to a young filmmaker or journalist who has made a substantial contribution to international journalism during the year. Let's have a look at the nominees.
In 2017, Salma Nazi began working as the only female journalist in Laghman province in eastern Afghanistan. Salma faced constant challenges as Taliban leaders tried to prevent her from working. When Afghanistan fell, Salma was forced to escape to Pakistan. She went into hiding as the threats from the Taliban increased. In a brave effort to give a voice to her fellow Afghans, Salma created the Afghan Times news agency and made a policy that only women would work on the platform. The Afghan Times is now a well-established outlet in the region, helping the world to understand the challenges that the country faces and allowing the women of Afghanistan to tell their stories. Ronaldo Salina is an investigative journalist with the BBC based in London. In her very first investigation, Ronaldo spent 2 years on her story, Racism for Sale, which marks the first major deep dive into a Chinese video-making industry which exploits children across the African continent. The story was widely shared, reaching policymakers and contributing underrepresented voices to the conversation around the experiences of the African diaspora in Asia. Having lived in China for 7 years, Runako intentionally grounded herself in journalistic practices that center, instead of marginalize, the global south. Runako has thrown herself into an industry that is in desperate need of diversification, with exceptional results. Investigative journalist Lindsay Billing has been reporting from Afghanistan since 2019, recently with her astonishing story, The Night Raids. Over 4 years, Lindsay attempted to track the civilian dead left behind by one of the squads of Afghan commandos, known as the Zero Units, that were conducting raids across the region. The units, supported and directed by the CIA, were often getting it wrong. Left behind were shell-shocked family members of those killed. Conducting hundreds of interviews, examining these raids through the eyes of all involved, and fostering these relationships took a huge amount of time and skill. Lindsay met with survivors and family members traumatized by raids that killed their loved ones without explanation or consequence. Lindsay was often the only person to come back and ask questions about what had happened, helping the voices of those affected to finally be heard.
An incredible selection of brave and creative journalists. Here to present the New Voice Award, please welcome Marcus Ryder, MBE from the Sir Lenny Henry Centre for Media Diversity.
First of all, I'm incredibly proud to be presenting the New Voices Award. Growing and championing emerging talent is more important than ever. And that's because we are facing an existential threat and crisis in our industry. And that is generative AI and how it could possibly decimate diversity in our industry. Just this week, Build announced it will replace 200 editorial positions with AI. On Friday, the Sir Lenny Henry Centre for Media Diversity published new research which revealed an inbuilt bias in ChatGPT and Bing GPT when it comes to the Global South and people of colour. According to ChatGPT, if you ask it, who were the 20 most important actors of the 20th century, not one of them is colour, not one of them comes from Bollywood, not one of them comes from Nollywood. If you ask Bing GPT, what are the most important facts about the founding fathers of the US, it ignores the fact that any of them owned slaves. What we need is that we need new journalists. We need to champion the journalists coming through to ensure that we are not relying on generative AI or if we do, we use it wisely. With that, and we should champion all of the 3 journalists that we saw today. It was amazing that it's 3 women. I will now announce the winner. Gendema, which means that she knows who it is. Right, Hen Hao, Renako, Selena.
Wow, super nervous, did not prepare because didn't expect this. First, just to say and recognize, as you did, Marcus, the other nominees. I just think they were exceptional. I think that's really important. Secondly, I want to recognize the families whose stories I told with Racism for Sale, who were exploited and whose children were exploited by the industry, which was a multi-million-dollar industry of exploitation of African children. And next, I really want to recognize the team who have made my kind of pivot into journalism as someone from a non-traditional background so easy, so smooth. Firstly, starting with Dan Adamson, who gave me my very first opportunity. Secondly, Mark Perkins, who sits at the back there as well. To Anusha, who does the thankless job of pushing out these stories and making sure that impact actually happens. To my co-reporter on this story, Henry Mahango, who's a Malawian journalist who's excellent. And to our producer-director, Chiara Francavilla also, and the entire team at BBC I and BBC Africa. My entry point into this story was the 6-7 years that I spent as part of a community in China, and that's the African diaspora in China, whose voices were always underrepresented, and who never really were listened to in a conversation that was all about them, and they were on the front lines. And that was the community that ushered me into journalism. And I found a new community with the team who welcomed me and helped me. So thank you so much once again. And yeah.
Congratulations. Now, our next award is the Television Documentary Award. This category recognises a significant episode or standalone piece of documentary journalism and has been kindly supported by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Let's now look at the documentaries which made the shortlist.
ماكو دولة بالعالم تضع منشآت نفطية ومشاعل للنفط بالقرب من السكان عدا العراق.
وعندما راجعت للدكتور قلت له أنا عايش بهيك منطقة، فقال لي هاي الأشياء السبب رئيسي بهذا المرض.
In another part of Sagaing, our team gains access to the graduation ceremony of nearly 100 new PDF members. As we're filming, suddenly an army helicopter starts circling above.
In the middle of the ceremony, there was a chopper. I believe it was aiming to target the ceremony.
It's the 17th of March. Russia has just targeted Kharkiv's famous indoor market, known as Barabashova. The market, one of Europe's biggest, feeds and clothes hundreds of thousands of people here. Fire crews from all over the city rush to the scene. Roman is among them.
There can only be one winner, and here to present the Television Documentary Award from the European Bank for Development, Reconstruction and Development is Richard Porter.
Good evening, everybody. It's a real privilege to be such distinguished company this evening, and I'm afraid I'm not going to win the thought-provoking introduction of the evening because Marcus just won that award, I think, a few minutes ago. But I would like to, in case you don't know what the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development does, we're a development bank based in London. We work in around 35 countries in Eastern and Southern Europe, in Central Asia, North Africa and the Middle East. And right now, our biggest priority is working in Ukraine, where we've been an investor for 30 years. We're the largest institutional investor in Ukraine. And we've been supporting their energy security, energy infrastructure, food security, the railways, various areas that need lots of work in support right now. And so when you see the damage being done, the lives lost, the families separated, as we saw in the clip from Kharkiv, it makes you even more determined to do something, to act. And good journalism, great journalism, as we've seen in all of these shortlisted entries, it does that. It creates impact and it inspires action. And all three of these shortlisted films demonstrated the best qualities of TV documentary making. Bold, brave, compassionate, intelligent, and superbly well produced. And I strongly believe that long-form current affairs journalism still has a place on primetime TV, and I'm glad that we have examples of this kind. And these directors and producers are doing us all a service with this work. And that's true of everyone who made the long list, a really impressive list of entries in this category, and congratulations to them as well. But you're not here to listen to me. We need to find out who the winner is. I haven't looked. I noticed some people were sneaking in. I don't know who the winner is. I'm about to find out. So, the Television Documentary Award goes to Under Poisoned Skies, Jess Kelly and Owen Pennell for BBC News Arabic.
Thank you so much, One World Media. This is a huge privilege. We actually thought we recorded very conscientiously and recorded video, so we haven't prepared a speech, but we'd like to dedicate this award to the amazing kids who we filmed over the course of the documentary, who are Iraqis who live within, some of them within meters of gas flares on oil fields run by companies like BP. And tragically, Ali, the main character in the film, died a few months ago. So this award is really for them, and that they shared their stories. Going to hand over to Owen, the producer, to say a few more words.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, alongside Ali, there were many other kids that we met in Iraq who have sadly died of leukemia, and we just wanted to say, all of these deaths were avoidable, and we really hope that our film helps to bring attention to the plight of these communities and bring justice to them. And they are living in the shadow of some of the world's most polluted oil fields, run by some of the world's richest companies, and we hope that those governments and those companies will put aside their kind of short-term interest to do something about the situation. I just want to say a huge thank you to our amazing BBC Arabic team, Rosie, Mus, Tim, Karo, and Mohammed, who's here, and Monica, of course, and our incredible Iraqi colleagues as well, some of whom we aren't able to name because they took such huge risks to bring this story to light. And we have to think of their security. But thank you so much, everyone, and thank you One World Media for recognising the story.
Congratulations to all the winners so far. We'd now like to turn to some more special guests from Rappler in the Philippines. Rappler won the One World Media Special Award in 2020, and we're so happy to welcome them back to present some awards for us tonight.
Greetings to all of you in London and watching online. I'm Chai Hofelenia, Rappler's investigative editor.
I'm Paterno S. Makel, news editor.
We're honored to be presenting several award categories this evening. We'll start off with the feature documentary and short film categories.
Feature Documentary Award is for a feature-length documentary film that deals with stories, topics, or issues related to the Global South.
The Short Film Award is for a short documentary film that focuses on Global South issues and stories. Here are this year's nominees.
Eu gosto de recordar todo dia que o que estamos vivendo não é um processo natural, mas uma fase a mais de uma guerra que nunca cessou. Mas o impossível está por vir e o inimaginável nos é devido.
O meu nome é Emerson. Eu sou uma pessoa trans não binária. Sou neta de mulheres indígenas com garimpeiros. Eu moro em Manaus há 25 anos. Então essa cidade me formou.
The average age of a girl getting trafficked has dropped from 16 to 12.
We weren't allowed to look this side. I remember sounds from here. I remember I was studying for a higher secondary exam at 2 o'clock at night and I heard a blood-chilling scream.
valungu va rhandzi ku swiharhi ku tlula hina vantima. Xikwembu xi hi nyike swiharhi leswi ku xi twa swo swiharhi na vanhu lava ntima lava swa fambelana. Se nyamutlha ta fika ku i rhandza ngopfu swiharhi, a nga rhandzi ngopfu swi rhandza, i rhandza ngopfu mali. Hi koho la ku nga na xihoxo, la ku endla ku wona ka michumu ya ku tala, ku sa valungu va fike ka hina, va na mhaka na swilo swa hina, a mana va na mhaka na hina vanhu va koho. A va swi twisisi swa ku na hina hi phati ya la misaveni. U fana na swiharhi swo swi rhandzaka, na hina va fanele va yi rhandza.
न्यूज में आता है कि हमारे घर में सांप घुस गया, हमारे बिल्डिंग में लेपर्ड घुस गया। गलत बात है, आपके घर में वो नहीं घुसा, उसके घर में आप घुस गए हो।
Ответила все быстро вопрос! Пока я ботинок тебе не сел, как не ебал тебе по голове.
What you're hearing took place in a Moscow police station. This police station.
Я здесь владыка судеб, понимаешь?
Нет, ну есть закон.
Нету законов здесь, закон только вот здесь, мой закон здесь.
There, 10 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, 29 anti-war protesters were detained, threatened, and in some cases, tortured.
Потому что я так захотел.
That's an incredible set of stories from a wide range of filmmakers.
The judges commented on the overall high quality of the entries. There was strong variety and diversity across the selection.
I can now reveal that the 2023 winner of the Feature Documentary Award is Urira, The Rising Forest by Juliana Curry.
And I can also reveal that the winner of the Short Film Award is Leopard's Tribe by Miriam Chandy Menachery.
Congratulations to you both. Let's hear from our winners.
Hi everyone, I am Juliana Curry, director, writer, and executive producer of Vida, The Rising Forest. This is a biographical film about Vida Sodoma, one of the most important contemporary artists in Brazil that are doing a really important work fighting for climate justice in Brazil. I'm here representing a constellation of talents, artists, and filmmakers. This is an independent film made by a group of women, BIPOC, indigenous, and trans filmmakers during one of the most violent periods in Brazilian history, in which our culture, arts, and environment suffer a lot of attacks. So for us to be here today celebrating this film among so many other filmmakers, so talented filmmakers, and nominated for this amazing award at One World Media, it's a great opportunity and it's an honor for us. Thank you so much, everyone, to be here, and thank you so much, One World Media, for amplify our voices.
Thank you to the jury of the One World Media Awards for recognizing our film, The Leopard's Tribe, in the short film category. It means a lot to me that this film has made it here, because it was a film that really shaped up in the pandemic years when we had a lot of restrictions for shooting and for movement. But we were able to finish the film because of a form of collaborative filmmaking. The family, who is the focus of the film, an indigenous family, felt so much a part of the process that they made it happen for us. And it's great that this award recognizes underrepresented stories from the global south, and that we have made it so far. Thank you so much.
And now it's time for the Podcast and Radio Award. This was another popular category with entries coming in from many countries covering a wide range of topics. Let's take a look at the nominees.
Pues estas semanas han sido un poco fuertes, han estado un poquito llenas de estrés. No sé, he estado un poquito disperso entre tantas cosas que he estado haciendo. Literalmente tenemos miles de personas en nuestra base de datos pidiendo ayuda. Pues recibo mensajes a diario como:
a mi hijo lo agarraron en entrada de México, siempre lo mandaron para atrás. Me cortaron la palma de la mano y me secuestraron, me violaron.
Sandton is actually the richest square mile in the whole of Africa, not just South Africa, but this whole big continent. I know, right? Such a flex. Of course, it's mostly white. Don't know if it's ever going to change. But I want you to look at this, like what's right in front of us. You see those shacks built from scrap metal and piled on top of each other? Well, that's Alexandra. one of the oldest black townships in South Africa. Many people in Alex worked in Sandton. The cleaners, the nurses, the gardeners, they kind of keep Sandton running. That's just part of the legacy of apartheid, really.
I've seen a lot of things in my years as an investigative reporter, but nothing quite like this. It's a video I got from one of my sources. It shows the captain of a large commercial fishing boat ordering his crew to shoot and kill several men treading water.
PJ police have asked Interpol to help them unravel the mystery surrounding what appears to be the brutal murder of 4 men at sea.
A brilliant selection of stories that inspire and challenge. I can now reveal the winner of the Podcast and Radio Award is I Will Not Grow Old Here by Radio Workshop.
Congratulations. Let's hear from our winner now.
I'm not really the girl that wins things, so taking this award home tonight has me... I'm so happy. I'm so honored to be winning. And I need to give a big shout out to my family, to Stembile Daza. I don't think people would understand the reality of living in Alex if it wasn't for you guys joining me on this journey. My team at Alex FM and the Radio Workshop, thank you so much for breathing life into my story and helping me tell it in a way that I could have never imagined. I think taking this award home just shows that there are certain truths and certain parts of our lives that we aren't always happy or comfortable sharing, but when we're able to embrace those truths and live in them, we take awards home. So here's from Alex, from Africa to the world.
That's it from all of us at Rappler.
Enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Back to you in London.
Thanks so much to Rappler for joining us and sharing those amazing winners. Congratulations to them all. Now, for our next category, we received an overwhelming number of really powerful stories. The Women's Solution Reporting Award is a prestigious recognition of reporting that showcases the stories of girls and women who look to tackle challenges faced by women and society at large. That could be stories about financial inclusion, climate, health, or solutions that empower girls and women. This award is kindly sponsored by the European Investment Bank and supported by Plan International. Let's just look at the nominations.
She then remembers Cody saying, "Someone told me that if the pregnant mother's weight isn't increasing fast, then it's a girl child." Over 13 years of helping hundreds of women with childbirth in the Ganeshwadi village of Maharashtra, Tadali had heard a lot of medical misinformation, but never this particular myth. Tadali is an accredited social health activist, or ASHA, part of an all-women cadre of 1 million community healthcare workers. They are responsible for over 70 healthcare tasks and make public healthcare accessible to people from remote areas and marginalized communities.
I was watching an animation that I really like called Zootopia, and it's really about a small bunny.
Oh, I love it as well.
Yeah.
I'm such a big fan. Mm-hmm.
Very, very big fan.
So Zootopia, in case you haven't seen it, is an animated movie for kids and adults like myself. Spoiler alert, in the film, humans are replaced by all kinds of zoo animals. But the real star of the show is this tiny bunny who wants to be a policewoman. Now, traditionally, in the world of Zootopia, this kind of job is done by the giant animals like lions and hippos. So it's all about her fight to make this happen.
So I love this movie, how this really tiny bunny wanted to become a policewoman, you know?
Yes.
And among these huge hippos. So I'm like, but then why don't my women become like this small bunny? Why don't they challenge status quo?
Cuando uno tiene vocación y
se fija una misión, una visión, qué es lo que quiere, no es una dificultad, ni tampoco un sacrificio, ¿no? Es algo que uno lo hace de corazón y, bueno, vocación hacia lo pedagógico, a brindar una mejor educación en estos lugares inhóspitos.
Thanks to all these impressive storytellers for sharing their work. Here to announce the winner is Shiva Dustar from the European Investment Bank.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the European Investment Bank, and I wonder, you probably wonder who are we, because indeed you heard about the EBRD earlier. We're the Bank of the European Union, and if you live in London or in the UK, probably your life has been impacted by us, because we've been lending to the UK until recently across infrastructure, so water, drinking water, schools, Canary Wharf, and so on. But tonight we're here because this is actually a very special award for us. We're also the EU Climate Bank and operate a lot in the global south. And if you want to change, if you want to tackle climate change and all the global issues, women are at the heart of the solution, women and girls. And this is why this particular award is just very meaningful to us, and it's been a real honor to be a judge on this for this particular award. We had a very, very wide selection, as you can see just from the finalists. Now, these are stories of women and girls who have been change makers. Very often these are stories that are of heroines and that have not been told. And the fact that we have now journalists and media professionals that are taking the time to really dig deep and get these stories out is what we would like to recognize with this award. Now, it's been the variety of topics, and that's what made this particular award so amazing, is quite stunning. You have gender equality, but you have also entrepreneurship, you have the use of technology and social justice all coming together in these stories in one way or another. And I think this is what made particularly our task as judges extremely hard. So I'm very pleased to now announce the award winner, which is, let me just make sure I can read it. So it's Sanket Jain, How Indian Healthcare Workers Use WhatsApp to Save Pregnant Women. Now, unfortunately, Sanjay was not able to join us. He's in India, but he has sent this following video.
Hello everyone. Thank you One World Media for this recognition. India's million community healthcare workers, known as ASHA workers, made global headlines last year after WHO honored them with Global Health Leader Awards. However, their work often remains unheard and ignored. Moreover, they are not considered as full-time workers. In 2006, India's maternal mortality rate was 254 deaths per 100,000 live births. By 2020, ASHA workers helped slash this rate by over 60% despite an oversaturated healthcare system. With this award, I am sure ASHA workers' work will reach more people across the world. Thank you One World Media for this honor. I am grateful to all the ASHA workers for sharing their stories with me and for the incredible work they do every single day. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you, Shiva. Next up is the International Journalist of the Year Award. This prestigious award is for a filmmaker or journalist who has made the most outstanding contribution to international journalism during the past year. All the distinguished journalists and filmmakers in this category deserve recognition. Let's look to those who made the final three.
Philip Obaji Jr. has been a freelance correspondent at the Daily Beast since 2015. He has reported primarily about Boko Haram in northern Nigeria, human rights abuses in West and Central Africa, and the trafficking of uprooted people in the two regions. Throughout 2022, he focused mostly on the Russian Wagner Group, uncovering gut-wrenching massacres and exploitation in the Central African Republic, and wrote shocking stories of how teenage girls were advertised on Facebook and sold into sex slavery. His reports helped change the way the world understood the Wagner Group, and his 2.5-year investigation into Facebook's use as a marketplace for underage girls uncovered the carelessness of the social media giant. Belle True is an international correspondent, photographer and videographer for The Independent, and has spent more than a decade risking her life to report from some of the most dangerous conflicts in the world, focusing on lesser reported stories. Dodging shelling, missile and sniper fire, in 2022, Belle crisscrossed Ukraine for multiple months-long investigations. She published a multi-part video documentary, photo and text series called The Missing, which delved into the fate of thousands of civilians who vanished since Putin launched his invasion. Her extensive reports tracked the impact of the war and drew widespread attention around the world. David Pilling has been a journalist with the FT for more than 20 years. During that time, he sought to use the international platform of the FT and its huge reach among policymakers, businesses and government to tell stories that might otherwise not find their way onto its pages. David is in charge of the FT's renowned Africa coverage, which has gained a reputation for offering a nuanced and insightful approach to the current affairs on the continent. Previously the FT's Asia editor, David has also authored 2 books, Bending Adversity and The Growth Delusion, which unpack mainstream approaches to global economies.
Congratulations to all those nominated. Now to announce the winner, please welcome Krishnan Gurumurthy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here. I really enjoy these awards because they remind me every time I come what sort of narrow-minded, introverted, parochial crap we fill our television bulletins with day in, day out. What an amazing field. Really, really brilliant journalists, all of them. The winner of the International Journalist of the Year Award is Philip Abaji Jr.
Good evening, everybody. Unfortunately, this is not how Philip looks like. So Philip was not able to be here. He was in Spain, like grabbing more awards. So so I thank everyone. I thank the One World Media for this award. And very interestingly, when he's been all about all of the things he does, I call him to order and I'm like, Philip, you know you shouldn't be doing this. I love you so much. And you've been to the creeks and places where you shouldn't be. But oh well, I'm still going to support you because I'm your younger one. I'm still going to support you. Unfortunately for him, I'm the one grabbing this award for him. So I know he's very, very excited about this. Wherever he is, he recognizes the fact that he's been taken global. Yes, and he grabs his encouragement and everything from the scriptures of God. Seest thou a man who does well in his business, he shall stand before international people like you are all, and not mean men. Thank you, and God bless you.
Congratulations. And our final award of the evening is the Special Award. This award is for an independent media organization based in the Global South, using media to address social, cultural, political, and economic issues. The award seeks to recognize and encourage outstanding reporting that informs the public and amplifies varied perspectives. Let's see the nominees.
Laboratorio de Periodismo y Opinión Pública, PopLab, was formed in March 2019 with the intention of telling underreported stories about the Mexican city Guanajuato, aiming to enhance public understanding of this region. PopLab is committed to journalism with a human rights perspective, denouncing the corruption and abuses of power by public officials and corporations which affect citizens. The reports of the PopLab team have been taken up in media such as Proceso, Sin Embargo, and The Washington Post, among other national and international media, and has helped amplify the voices from this region. Founded in 2015, Lupa is a Brazilian platform for fighting disinformation through journalism and education. By monitoring social networks through fact-checking techniques, Lupa produces content that helps restrict the circulation of false facts that make the digital environment more harmful. The journalism team also investigates disinformation chains and their financiers and goals, and closely monitors the behavior and speeches of public authorities, helping the public decipher the truth. STEPS is a non-profit media organisation based in Cape Town, South Africa, passionate about the power of documentaries to disrupt, shift, and move the world around us. The organisation's diverse projects use film to empower, start a conversation, educate, and produce action around human rights and environmental issues. STEPS' aim is to use socially relevant documentary films to give a voice to marginalised and disadvantaged communities, and enable local and global conversations around the most important topics of our times.
To announce this year's winner, please welcome One World Media's director, Gemma Bradshaw.
Hi, can I just say that Will just told me not to drop the award, and as I was walking across the stage, all I could think was, hold on to the award. Anyway, it's here. It's going to be fine. Okay, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's been an incredible evening, and as ever, we're always at One World Media humbled by all of you in the room. Every day we work with filmmakers and journalists all around the world, and we can only be your cheerleaders. And now know that now you're part of our family, whether you like it or not. And so we're here for you. We want to see more of your reporting recognized, celebrated, and out in the world to as many people as possible. But I get to have the honor of the special awards, which I'm really thrilled to be doing, because since I joined, I've always thought that this really went to the heart of what we do at One World Media. It's about independent, rigorous reporting from the Global South. It's about media organizations that the whole team every day are going above and beyond to bring us these stories. You've seen two of them tonight, Tolo News in Afghanistan, who certainly understand the power of storytelling and the necessity of keep going. They have faced threats to democracy, to their own lives, their own personal circumstances, and yet they keep on going. So that's what this award is about for us. And tonight we have 3 nominees who are all doing that in their own ways, whether it's through documentary, fact-checking, or investigations. All of them are doing what they do to shift opinion and to hold power to account. So the winner of the 2023 One World Media Award is PopLab from Mexico.
Thank you. I can't believe this, so I am going to read. For decades, the media in Mexico were complacent and accomplice to the government. When independent media emerged, concern about transparency, human rights, gender equality, accountability, and fight against inequality, there was a surge in the country of aggressions, murders, and harassment against journalists, and advertising boycotts against the media. Pop Lab is an open journalist project from Guanajuato, fiercely independent, but above all, it is an act of faith. We believe our societies can be better if we fight for the right to know and discuss about what is not working. We thank One World Media for this recognition that confirms to us that we must continue to give a voice to those who want to tell their truth, even if there are powers that try to silence us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, it's been an incredible evening. Now we have our 15 new award winners, all of them inspiring, all of them leaders in their field. It's been a huge honor for me to host this evening's ceremony, to stand alongside all of the exceptional nominees and winners and reaffirm the vital role of journalism to understand the world's challenges, solutions, and humanity. Thank you to all of the sponsors, judges, presenters, staff, and volunteers who helped make this evening happen. I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in online as well. Thank you for being part of the celebrations. The ceremony is now over, but please join us upstairs to have a drink and toast our winners. Thank you again, and see you next year.